Sister just gave birth. She's staying with us for a couple days. The first meal I cook for her is some really delicious hearty soup. Cut up my onion, carrots, green onion, a little bit of minced garlic. I put everything in a pot with some oil. Cook that down a little bit for a couple minutes, not too long. Then I added my seasoned meat. Seasoned my beef with some green seasoning. I let it cook until the beef is brown from the outside. While the beef was cooking, I started to peel my plantain. Peel my plantain and cut them into small pieces, because plantain and cassava takes the longest to cook. Added my cassava and my plantain, a little bit of barley. I added some dry seasoning as well. Dried parsley, dried basil, black pepper, thyme, salt. And I added 2 packs of Goya sazon. I added some water in there, cover that with a lid, and leave that to cook for at least half an hour or until the cassava and plantain until it's almost fork tender. While that was boiling, I started to peel my eddos. Look how tiny that eddo was. I left the eddos just like that because it was tiny already. Peeled my sweet potatoes and cut that almost evenly. Put up my corn. Let me tell you, that soup had everything that she needed. I had a little bit of vegetable bouillon paste too. I added that as well. When the plantain is almost fork tender, I added my sweet potato and eddos in there, a little bit more water, and I cooked that until the sweet potato and eddo is almost fork tender. When it's almost fork tender, I added my spinach and corn in there, because those two things doesn't take too long to cook. It probably takes like about 5 minutes to cook. Make sure to mix it once in a while so nothing doesn't stick at the bottom. I cover that with a lid, leave it to cook. While that was cooking, I started to make my dumplings. Added a little bit of self-rising flour. I seasoned that with Goya adobo seasoning. Stop all the dry ingredients. Then I added my water in there, just enough so a dough will form. I used warm water, and that's about it. I didn't need it any more extra, and that's it. I made tiny dough balls because I know it'll swell in the soup, and I do not want big dumplings. And you know what? The dumplings and the eddo end up getting the same size, which was funny. I didn't know whether eddos are dumplings. When everything is fork tender, the beef, the potato, cassava, plantain, and everything, I started to add my dumpling one by one in there, and I leave it right on top. I don't let it sink. When I finish adding all the dumpling in there, I leave the stove on low, shut that up with a lid, and leave it to cook. I didn't trouble it or anything. And after like about 2 minutes, I just turned off the stove and I did not open the lid. When we're ready to eat, I checked the dumplings to see if it's cooked or not. Then I put some soup on the dumplings, and I turn over a few so the dumplings will be, you know, delicious and tasty with the soup and everything. That's how I cook my healthy, delicious soup. This can cure any sickness.